Hey guys, so much is going on in the treasure hunting world this week. We were about to do our recap, and here we go. American History Part 5, another Justin Posey interview. Cynthia drops a video. There's been amazing conversations in Discord. There's so much to unpack. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jam, and we are Treasure Hunt with us. And that's right, we were prepared to record tonight, talk about our weekend. It was an amazing weekend we had. And then, boom, American Treasure Podcast drops out. Interview. It's got Justin Posey. It's got JCB. It's loaded.
It's so much. Oh my gosh. Let's start with the obvious. We just got back from Vegas. We had a great time with our family. We had a fantastic time hanging out with K-Pro and Calazar. So much fun. They're a great time. They're so funny, so charming. I couldn't say enough nice things.
No, I agree. They were so nice, so inviting, so just helpful,
Very real. Very real. That was really nice.
They give you advice. Just really good people. We're so happy for them. They reached 9,000 while we were there. That was awesome. And now they're only 10,000 away. They're going to do a big giveaway. So if you are not subscribed,
1,000 away from 10,000.
1,000. Yeah. Sorry, 1,000 away. Actually, less. About 980,
like
maybe
970. I'm like, what happened to all their followers?
Go subscribe to them because I want to be part of their giveaway. I probably won't, but I want to be part of the show that does the giveaway. I know.
I love it. I think that they're great. I think that they've been dedicated.
Help them. It costs nothing to subscribe. Go subscribe to us too, but go subscribe to them, please. I'll put their link down below. Subscribe to them. It helps them out. Get them over that $10,000 mark. Matter of fact, Lou B, he's almost at 100,000. We're gonna put his link too. Subscribe to everybody. It costs nothing. It helps us all out. We enjoy
Lou is so nice. We got to see if we can get Lou to come on and talk about his trip to Tahoe. I'd love to hear about his TTI hunt that's going on.
I would love that.
Lou, if you're watching, Lou, get over here. Let's hear what you had to do in Tahoe. We'd love to interview you about that. I had such a great time. Here's the funny thing. So we decide, we're in Vegas, we decide we're going to do a poker tournament, just random. Like, oh yeah, there's a poker tournament going on. I'm like, okay, I haven't played in a few years. And I'm sitting there with K-Pro, and she is smack talking to all these people and talking to this little nice lady. And I'm just like, she is just running this table. And like, she knew everywhere we went. I feel like they knew everybody. They had a great time. The food was fantastic, but had a fun time playing poker with her. And like now when they were started talking about the, World Series of Fenn, I'm so excited. So hopefully they'll start having more information about that coming down the line. And then again, subscribe. Now let's get into it. American history dropped a huge bomb.
Do we want to start with the American history? I mean, that was amazing. Should we just run through everything else? Let's run through everything else, and then we'll finish with that because that's going to take up so much of our time. We'll forget everything else.
That's true. And I don't want to forget because I'm really excited. So you know that I love Cynthia. She dropped a video. She dropped a video of her 5-day trip to Montana. And wow, I was so
the quality. I'm like, holy cow, she's
I had to ask her what kind of drone she has. I was like, smokes. It's like, this thing is fantastic. Had to put it on the list, and now Scott's gonna have a new drone.
Yeah, we're gonna he has to learn how to fly it too, but we're gonna put that link down below too. We're gonna just link everybody today.
Yeah, Riz getting a link today. And you should subscribe to her as well. She's got some great stuff out there, a little different. She dropped a great video too the night that the Netflix special aired. And there's history in all of this, people, and there's all this history plays into everything. Okay, but let's talk about it. So because the very first thing she opens with is she does like an intro, and she did this thing with the map or the face on the book, and a map of Montana where she was, and it lined up so well. I was like, I've never seen that. So I was really excited by that. And so, of course, I've been staring at that for a couple days. And she also pointed out something that I thought was interesting. He talks about Polaris. He mentions it 9 times in 5 stories. And I just was like, okay, that's also huge. I mean, I know they talk about it a lot. Like, we're breaking down the stories. And one of our things we'll do this week is shoot a video about the next 3 chapters, right? Yeah. But, she talked about, it's just interesting, all the things that we have been hearing and she's been hearing, and kind of almost like confirmation versus confirmation bias, where she's like, another name for North Star is Polaris. Obviously, that one's an easy one. But there was this part where she pulls up along that sign where it says the land of 10,000 haystacks, because that's what they know this region as. And she draws the parallel of Justin saying it's like a needle at a football field. And she turns around and she said, and she felt like that could be a reference to when Jack Stoof said his research area was smaller than a football field. And I'm like, okay, I didn't draw that correlation. I thought that was freaking huge. Because when your boots on the ground, it's so hard to know where to start and where to end. And like, how do you make sure you're not missing anything? And
how big of a search area really should you be looking?
Right.
So, are you too big? Are you too small? And are you overlooking and missing? Until your boots on the ground. This is why we highly recommend everybody go boots on the ground, even if you're not 100%.
Recon.
Exactly. Do it for recon, right? So
think of all the times I've been to Montana. You know, I've been there at least twice now. I'm going to go back soon. Not soon this week.
Not soon. Why? Soon. Can I show you why you can't go back right now?
Yeah, go ahead and show me why you can't go back, or why.
Who sent us this picture again?
This came from Matt Goldfinder, and
Matt
he gave me permission. He gave me permission to use his lovely ladies.
Oh my gosh.
And he has a ranch out there. And he said this was yesterday, and they got 8 inches of snow up on the mountains. It is melting fast, but I mean that's out there. And so for me, I will not be going out anytime soon. Primarily because I hate the cold, but also because you can't find it if it's under snow. And so that's good to know.
That's a lot of snow. So, and I saw like people showing overpasses around Bozeman and stuff like that. Big trucks crashing, you know, other trucks crashing. It was not a good weekend in Montana or whenever the snow was.
Right.
There was some struggles. So if you're going out there, be super safe. You know, that's our whole thing. It's like, this is what everybody's whole thing is be safe out there, right? No treasure is worth being hurt. So
no treasure is worth being hurt. And, you know, and so like another thing too, in Cynthia's video, we were talking about Montana is like, so, oh my gosh. So like in the book, Justin talks about like, and to forest, and Cynthia puts this in her video, in that whole, acknowledgement section. And she goes, he goes, finally to Forest Fenn, whose treasure chest started as my destination, but became my launching point. Your hunt taught me that the best treasures are the ones that inspire new searches, new stories, and new obsessions. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that's very interesting, right? And then to future hunters who hold this book, may you find what you're looking for, even if it's not what you expected to find. The best treasures are after all, often hid in plain sight, sometimes between the lines of the acknowledgement page. So I see Cynthia's video, and, you know, the next thing you know, I'm like, wait a minute. Is he telling me to go figure out in The Thrill of the Chase that there may be if that's where his treasure starts? So I'm like deep diving, like rabbit hole, like a mofo, in the Thrill of the Chase, trying to see if there's something that I missed there too.
Because, did you run a flashlight through the acknowledgement page to see what was on the other side?
I mean, there is some theories and stuff about our acknowledgement page, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's accurate. That's my perception. If you like it, go with it.
Keep going. Hey, tell us.
I'm telling people this. So. If you're seeing something I'm not seeing, I want to know about it, right? That's the point. But I think what Justin is doing, it's like a play on words. It's a play on thoughts, right? So that's what led me. Cynthia's video started in me like, maybe this is actually, if it starts with forest, maybe it starts with florist, right? And so I went to go look at the acknowledgments, and there are no acknowledgments. So then I'm like, well, what could that mean? What else is? So I was deep diving into that. But then later on, I was in the Discord live chat, and she's talking about I watched that video twice, and then I go to that chat, and she's like, well, that's part of the Big Hole River is part of the Nez Perce Trail. Like I watched that video twice, 2 times, one time and then another time. And I missed that that she mentions the Nez Perce Trail. Well, I mean, that's literally where 9 Mile Hole starts, is at the Nez Perce Trail. So it's the start of his hunt. And so
and it goes into Montana, right?
Yes, it backtracks towards Big Hole.
And I didn't know that. You didn't know that.
I didn't know that. And I watched the video 2 times.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Then I'm like, okay, thank you, Cynthia. I mean, her quality of her video was so fantastic. Like I said, her drone was just, I mean, the drone shots are just so beautiful, so fantastic, such good quality. I was like, oh my gosh. So she told me the kind it is. Gonna have to get it. She drives into Divide, and then she picks up this sign, and she's like filming this sign, and she's like, she points to the corner where there's the BLM like logo, and there's double arcs on it.
BLM, just for everybody to know, is the Bureau of Land Management, where you can hide treasure on.
You can hide treasure
in most of them.
And
so always look up the laws and rules.
So I'm almost started going again. So here's Cynthia just out there like, look at, this is my trip. This is my 5 days. And then she's got these double arcs. And so I started going, oh my gosh, is this their way of saying, look, not her, but it's Justin saying, this is on BLM land with granite, with a significant amount of granite. Now I've got to start looking around and seeing what I find, right? Really excited about that. And then she went to Pettingill, which is part of the Pioneer Byway. And it's closed between these two parts, but on one side it's where Pettingill's closed. And she goes, it was really reminiscent to her of how, he said that the treasure box was filled to the gills, and like maybe the Pettin Tucker was a Tucker reference, because she associates the container with Tucker. And then
very smart lady.
I'm against it. That was the only thing that she said that I was like, Cynthia, how could you?
She's brilliant. Don't question her.
I'm questioning her right now. I'm like, that's it. I'm out of this video. No, I'm just joking. It's fantastic. There's a great debate. Until somebody has the container, nobody will know what the container is. But a lot of people think it's associated with Tucker, and I'm like, okay, fine. I think it's associated.
The smartest people think it's associated with Tuckers or raccoon.
So
by smartest people, I mean me. Anybody that agrees with me,
don't forget
you are now
considered spirit animal.
She also thinks she is. She's so awesome, man. It was so great to meet her and Mike. So
right.
And
then
when you get to the video, what else you got?
Yeah, well, and then the other two things so she goes to Maiden Rock, where she says, "Is this the bride?" Maiden Rock is also BLM, so there's that. And then she went to the Wise River Club. Is the last thing she mentioned. And I went to the Wise River Club, and it was the day after she had been there. And she's talking about how like she had a great time and she had listened to music. Well, when I went in there, the lady could not wait to tell me about how they had a celebrity, Cynthia, there the day before. She was so excited that Cynthia had been there, and I just thought, oh my goodness. And it's like, these people are so beautiful and they're so fantastic, and I just love that she drew attention to. She was like, here's the people, and she's talking about being in the ranger station, and then she's talking to the people of Wise, and she went to a talk, and she told me she was doing all that stuff while she was there, because we were there at the same time. And I wanted to like let her do her thing. I mean, me, I was tempted to invite myself to basically everything, but I wanted to be respectful. Somewhere, I know I took a picture with her and AKA and Matt, and I don't know who took it, and it was on a pink phone, and I would love to, if you took that picture and you're watching this video, send it to me, please, because I was so like entranced. I never took my own picture with Cynthia, and I'm like, no, are you kidding me? So yes, so if you've got that picture, send it to us at
comments at treasurehuntwithus.com. Like, comment, and subscribe, please.
Right. So before we jump into the American history,
I want to jump in on that too.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
What I liked about it is, in one of her shots, she has a picture of a sign, and that's a lot of the area where I'm looking at, where the three rivers or creeks combined down makes the Jefferson and stuff like that. And there was a very interesting sign. And when we go into chat, as you know, Chasing Indy is brilliant. She's going through all this cool, crazy stuff, and I'm like, mind blown on what she's saying, which is just reinforcing a lot of the stuff I was looking at. And do we have any news on that?
Right. Yes, you do have news on that, but I'm going to tell you. So when I was in Dillon, it might have been last time, but it could have been the time before. I think it was last time. She's like, Emma, you haven't done certain pieces of research. Get out there. Let me know why you think Dillon's important and this and that. So last night, after K-Pro and Mike's or Calazar's live, I jumped into the talk because she was going to jump into the part about being very esoteric and stuff like that, and talking about Freemasonry, and that's been part of things that I found very interesting ever since I was doing a bit of a deep dive into Dillon, and so I wasn't sure how much of that she was sharing, because I've been kind of out of the loop in Discord, because we've been a lot of places, right?
We've been really busy lately. It's been a busy month, probably.
Right. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get out. I want to go see and like talk to some people. But all of a sudden she just starts saying stuff and blowing my mind. So I messaged her and I said, you need to come on our show. Will you come on our show? Let's talk about this. These are things that people aren't talking about. And she told me she will come on our show. Yes. She's gonna see what she has available on Thursday. I know we're scheduled to film on Thursday, and once I know, you'll know, and we'll go ahead and get it filmed. Maybe put it up on Friday. But that's super exciting, because she's just looking at it differently, right? There's people who are super linear and analytical, and there's people who are just more of like they're your solvers, right? They're your people who are looking for ciphers and this and that. And then there's me, who's like, it's all about the words, and it's about the feelings and about the energy and this and that. And then you have Indy, And she's like, oh yeah? Have you thought about this? Have you deep dove onto this meaning of this word and how this plays into this? Do you know what the names of these rivers were before? And I don't want to steal any of her thunder because she's got some fantastic stuff. But I was like, oh my goodness. First of all, I was so tired because we had been traveling all day Sunday and then I worked all day yesterday. And then we had K-Pros Live. And then I'm like, I got to get into bed. I'm so tired. But I was up till 11:30 and I had to be up at 4 this morning. So I'm still tired, which is why I'm in cozy, warm clothes.
Yeah. So yeah, I was in that chat, and the way she thinks about mythology and the research she does about all these different mythologies and stuff, it's just amazing. Like, that's how I heard about the red-cheeked woman and a few other things where she's like, have you even looked at this? And I'm like, no, and that was a while ago, but know, the way she thinks about stuff and knows all this stuff about mythology and her research ability, this is going to be a tremendous guest. I cannot wait to have her on. I think
know,
people are going to learn a lot. So.
Well, and here's the thing. She used to have her own channel. She's actually done multiple times herself. I tell her all the time that she needs to have her own channel.
We'd subscribe. She's great.
We'd subscribe. I'd subscribe.
Yeah.
You would subscribe. There'd be subscribers. Well, and that's the thing, is she'd do a great job. But this isn't for everybody. And when she did it before, people left a bad taste in her mouth. So if you're watching this and Chasing Indie or Candy or just regular Indie, whatever you call her, let her know. We'd love to have her putting up content on a regular basis because her stuff is different. And if what it does is make you think a little bit different, that's what she's trying to do. Don't get me wrong, like the rest of us, she's hunting as well, but she's just trying to help people reach the next level of potential treasure enlightenment. And that's just that's such a gift. People don't understand what a gift that is. And
she's dropping knowledge.
She's dropping knowledge.
And you can learn.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, let's get into this. We don't want to keep this forever.
One more thing, and then we'll do that. So, and then Saturday, we will have Matt on the show to talk about what you need to know if you're going to go boots on the ground in that whole Montana, Wyoming, Yosemite corner area, because it's so important. We're talking about safety, and we're going to do a video about safety with him and talking about things that he thinks people need to know. And then Scott will drop a short about practicing with the bear spray. So that's what we have coming up. We'll also be dropping an episode very soon on the next 3 chapters. But more importantly, American history.
Let's get into it. It was crazy. We've been waiting forever for the Dave part 2 of JCB. He had stuff in the can, and now we understand why. He basically put it together. He's got John, JCB, and he's got Justin in the same show. You need to go watch it right away. I'll put a link down below for you.
Oh my gosh, it was so fantastic. I've been able, seriously, we haven't heard anything from Dave since March 4th when he dropped the end of episode 4. I mean, now I see why, because what he just put together was so fantastic, right? It was so profound.
Yeah, it really was. So.
And it answered questions for me that I've been thinking about, but not really been clear about, right? And so I think that he's got a different perspective than anybody else who's interviewed Justin, because he actually knows JCB personally. It's not like he just knows JCB or interviewed him. He's friends with JCB. So the way he's approached these hunts is a little different because he's been an active member of it, because before JCB even finished writing the book or hiding treasures, he was involved. And so that's a big deal. And so I thought he asked very poised questions that had value, right?
Yeah, I think it was great too how he mixed in JCB. A lot of it was some old video clips that he hadn't used and some new ones and things about that, where he talks about, the importance of the forced Fenn in there and stuff. So we can go over all that. So it's great.
Right. Well, I love that he starts by, these are 2 men who launched a book at the same time or similar times about the same subject, who have the same kind of backstory. And he started looking for their similarities. And I found it interesting that Justin said that he's going to keep, he's keen on getting into the spectator mode. And John was the complete opposite. And he says, you had this book and it was so, he was talking about Forrest Fenn. He's like, it's so, he dropped an F-bomb. He said it was so effing obscure. But he wants his book he wants it to solve to be the book and never listen to him. He doesn't want people sitting there listening to him. He wants the book to stand on its own. He's like, there's no reason to contact me. None.
Yeah, well, Justin says basically he wants to get into, he won't fade completely into the background. He wants to get
Right.
into a spectator mode, right?
Right.
And you're right. He just said, he literally, John said, the book, you got the book. That's all you need.
You don't need
So if
me.
people are wondering, you don't need anything else. You just need that book. But I like how it started off, right? Justin's what's called view of leaving something behind for someone to find is like it's like romantic, right? It harkens back to old world adventures. That's how Justin sees what treasure hunting is, what he did, what John's done, and what other people have done. So
Well,
really
and
cool.
Justin's relationship with treasure hunting, I feel, based on the stories that he's written, because I don't know either of these men in person. Well, I guess we've talked to Justin, but like, I don't know him. It goes so much farther back. Like he got in trouble. Well, he didn't get in trouble. He got made fun of in school because he would dress like Indiana Jones as a junior hire. That can't have been an easy thing to get through, right? But he was so dedicated to his love and his passion that like that made more sense to him than like being teased by other kids. And I thought, oh my gosh, at least he didn't bring the whip to school.
Yeah, exactly. And I love how John also mentioned, by the way, is that he talked about Forrest Fenn, how he loved answering emails and interacting with people, but John doesn't want to do that. So that's why if you email John, you might not get a quick response or a response. It's probably from his team because he doesn't want. That's not why he's doing this. That's not what his motivation kind of was. Which Forrest Fenn, he was an older man. He liked the attention. He loved being around them. I mean, that's what we're learning, right? Is that a lot of what he did was to be around people and stuff. And what else? He says, what else would I have? He says that in Going Great. If I didn't have this, what else would I have? So,
well, and you talk about the emails. Even Justin posted this week that thing where he said he had 24,101 people who said that they'd like him to verify the solve. 13,388 people saying that they knew exactly where the treasure was. 32 bribe attempts, 3 blackmail attempts, 1 search and rescue, and 0 treasures found. And I just thought, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, we also found out that he bet on the Kentucky Derby. He's going for chunk of gold. Did not come in, by the way. It did
chunk
not
of
place.
gold.
He didn't
I
win
bet
either,
for chunk of gold too. It did not come in.
No, it was the speed was too fast. 22.81. That's crazy. So, anyways, that's
so
for the
crazy.
Kentucky Derby.
But I also found it very interesting. Like I knew Golden Greed took a while to make, and that Justin was kind of just in this transition period where he was waiting for it to get finished. But he said it took 4.5 to 5 years for all the filming and editing. That's a long stinking time.
Yeah, that's actually really important to know too. So it took 5 years to do the filming, and so you got to figure the early stuff. He said was the outdoor stuff, right? And so obviously he wasn't putting clues in at that time, right? So
Dave asked him about it, and he said he found as many. Dave asked him about putting the clues, and he said he's finding as many opportunities as he could throughout the remaining filming. So you're right. In the beginning, I don't think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's exactly. So in the early part, especially when he's filming the outdoor stuff, there's probably no clues in that. So if you're looking for clues in that, there's probably not in there. So that's good to know.
But like there's it seems like there could be logically less clues.
Well, he said in there that he took the auction, or what's it called, or after the auction, he took it very seriously because he found out, I can get pieces of this and stuff like that. And he said the ones that didn't make it in, he made a bunch of them. The ones that didn't make it in were super subtle. So a good chunk of them did go in. So he got pretty much all he wanted in there.
But he tried to maximize his opportunity. But when we interviewed him, he said that he found out just days before that that some stuff didn't make it in. So he had to go and add stuff to the book. And so
but he did say in this just latest interview, though, that it was just small, subtle stuff, that it wasn't anything big. So I thought that was interesting. So because the way he made it sound with us was that it was missing like something good didn't make it in, but it sounds like that wasn't it. So he sounds like the good chunk of it did go in, and almost all of it is probably when he's recording in his office. It sounds like, because the early stuff when he was out filming outdoors was before he even started doing the treasure hunt. So well, and he said that they set up those cameras and they basically were running 24 hours a day, and so then they went back. Netflix saw him move that, and that's when they threw that in. I thought that was important. So here he moves that camera, moves that thing, and he had no way of knowing whether that would make it or not. But
That he
Yeah.
felt like they did kind of like try to encourage some of that.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, when he's talking about the Golden Greed. He said it was strange how everything fell into place with Netflix. He went on the Forrest Fenn finale thing in
Yeah.
Yellowstone, where he met Ben Wallace, right?
There's a lot of information in that article. For people who have not read that, they should go read the Ben Wallace New Yorker interview for Forrest Fenn. It's got a lot of details that I think are significant.
Yeah, and he said how he went out to investigate the solution and got introduced to Gum Street Productions, and he said he was hesitant, but in the end, he obviously ended up doing it, right? So
right. Oh, for sure. I mean, what does he say? When somebody offers you a ticket, you take the ticket and take the ride, or what, something like that? Yeah.
yeah. When someone offers you a ticket, you buy the book or whatever. That's the book is the ticket. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, so that was all good. And then I thought it got really interesting because Dave decided that he was gonna see how each of the gentlemen felt about the attachment. I just thought that people have been like we were talking about this, like how must JCB be feeling about the fact that now Justin's entered the arena and that these things are going, and they didn't really know that one another. It turns out, based on what you heard, that they didn't know that one another were doing the same thing at the same time, and that's huge.
yeah, I thought it was interesting when he asked Justin and John about how Forrest Fenn, about the Forrest Fenn influence, basically, I guess you can call it. And Justin says that, it was hard to refute that there isn't any overlap, and John doesn't think it will be like Forrest Fenn's, that, he wanted to talk about things beyond him and things that are relevant in today and not necessarily just his life per se.
Well, and he tried to add gamification, and I thought that's such a significant word, right?
It really is.
It's hugely important. So I was like, oh, goodness gracious. But each of them kind of tried to make it their own. And he said, I love how John pointed out that there's really several things that just have nothing to do with him.
Forrest was a romantic story, and he wished that was the society we lived in, but especially with the legal risks, when he wrote his book, the world kind of demands that we bubble wrap our experience, so, and he's got a good point, right? That's why almost everything he does, he's made changes. That's the other thing we haven't even talked about. He made changes to his website this week. And a lot of it is legal reasons, you know what I mean? And honestly, some of it confuses me even more now than before. So,
and
but
seems
it's all
a little
legal
contradictory, and I think that the intent is to remove the contradictions, but I think it's now just started greater debate and a little bit of a frenzy over it. And like I was in Discord earlier, and there was a great debate about whether or not, like, those roads that are closed, if what he's saying is that those roads that were closed now no longer apply, because he's saying you could just walk in on them. And I think the reality is what he was saying, based on what Kpro said, is that no. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say no, it's so definitive, right? But what he's really saying is the roads that he was using were open on the date. But at any point, a road could be closed for any reason that he wouldn't necessarily know about, right? And that's, if you can hike in, you can hike in. And he's just trying to not discourage people, but also still remind them to stay safe. Safety, 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 people. Safety.
Yeah, he's also very smart in saying, I'm going to legally put up here to protect myself. Do not risk anything. This is, do not go here. Do not go there. That is what it is. Be safe, because I'm not going to be legally responsible for your, as what John calls black would be called dumbasses, which I also thought was interesting. We'll get to that though.
But I love, Dave asked really great questions, but when he said one difference between Justin Posey and JCB is that Justin met Forrest Fenn. And he said that the thing he said about Forrest that was so profound is, it's the thing, I say this all the time, is that Forrest had a way of helping you and making you feel very important, and people gravitated towards that. And there's a great Maya Angelou quote that says, people will never remember what you say to them, but they'll always remember how you make them feel. And that's very true. When people feel uplifted, and when people feel like genuinely like heard, they can't help themselves. Their natural inclination is going to be to go towards that person over and over and over again. And it just sounds like that's exactly who Forrest was. And Justin points out, though, that people put Forrest on this pedestal like he was godlike in many ways. And it's just like, I think for him, it really kind of validated who Forrest was when he met him, and that he got to really know him on a interesting and as deep a level as you possibly could for the time being.
Yeah, and I think he said meeting him made him feel better about the whole experience.
Right.
And the value of Netflix is people are going to watch it and see Justin and be like, is this guy crazy or not? And it's up to you to decide. So I thought that was really good. So really good questions.
Right. So. Well, then, he talks about how often are you monitoring it?
Yes. Justin keeping up on pretty much all formats.
Tabs.
Reddit,
Justin literally
Discord.
posts.
He's everywhere.
Justin's posting, more than most 20-somethings. And that's such a great, and that's a compliment, believe it or not, because who has that kind of time, right? It's fantastic. Because he's really giving people recognition, right?
Yeah. Reddit, Facebook, Discord. Hey, he's everywhere. Instagram. Right. So he's on the gram.
And then you have, conversely, of JCB, who's like, meh, I'm not really out there that much.
He says he kind of checks
People seem into it.
He's so much more nonchalant. He does seem like he wanted to put that book out there and just step way back and just kind of let it roll until someone found the treasure. That's kind of what he feels like. Where Justin feels like, this is exciting. This is great.
And you kind of felt that in his interview, right? And actually, in every interview you've seen, Justin's part of it. But Justin is a hunter, like a true hunter. And he's actually, and Dave asks him, are you currently on a hunt? And he basically is like, I'm doing some reconnaissance. And he wants to choose wisely which next hunt that he's going to be in. And so then he presses him over, well, what are you working on? He's like, oh, maybe I'll tell you later, kind of thing. There's a number of hunts that he's looking into.
Well, that's not how I got that. I got it. He's doing reconnaissance for possibly another treasure hunt.
Is that
like this is his practice? Yeah, he seemed like the way he said it was like that this is a practice run before he does. It's like reconnaissance and practicing, to get into it. That's how I took that. Should we re-listen to it?
Let's just move it. Maybe you're right. Listen, that's the best part about doing this with you and you and I doing this together is you can hear the exact same thing and hear something completely different at the same time. And that means other people are hearing it. Now, when I go back and I listen to it again, because we both know I'm crazy, we both know I'm going to listen to it like twice tonight before I go to bed and maybe twice tomorrow when I get up. Minimum. Because I'm hunting. I'm hunting in the words because I'm not a cipher girl. I'm not a numerologist, and I'm certainly not as cool as Indy with the etymology of coefficients of existence of like the strategic Romanian, diatribes. I don't know that stuff, but I know people and I know words. And so when I'm listening for what you're saying and the intent behind your feelings and your meanings, and so
I definitely go back and listen to that part because to me, I was like, is he maybe doing this as like a test run for a JCB size big one where it's all over the US, people on the East Coast going, hey, wait, why did we get left out? And maybe this is his test run. That's what it kind of sounded like to me, was like, this is like a practice. And if it goes well, I'm going to do another one. That's how I was like,
that you took it that way. I almost hope you're right because I'm really enjoying this hunt, but I really took it like he's looking for, as a hunter, he's looking for something else for him to do next. Yeah. So maybe I'm wrong, and that's okay if I am, and if I'm not, I'll make you pay. But
we're gonna have to go back and listen to it again.
I really hope you're right and I'm wrong. But if he's gonna do a different hunt out there, you bet your butt I want to be on that hunt too. I think you want to talk about treasure hunting with someone. I would love to go treasure hunting with Justin Posey. His mind, it's like Indy, how his mind is so. It's like thinking of X-ray vision. Oh yeah, just a little X-ray vision. I'm like, oh really? I make tacos sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you talk to somebody? I do make really good tacos. I cook everything well. But how do you talk to somebody who has the ability to be like, I'm working, what am I working on? I might be doing some titanium atomizing or maybe making some X-ray vision. Everybody already knows about my facial recognition software. It's like, and I'm like, oh yeah, I made a batch of cookies to go with my son's friends up to see his family in Boone today while working full time. And he's like, but these are the things that he does for a hobby. And now guess what? I do treasure hunting for a hobby. If I could treasure hunt with anybody, I think I'd want it outside of you and Scott. Yeah. Sorry, Scott. I know you're not in here. I know you're probably not even watching. But if I wasn't going to treasure hunt with you guys, I'd love to be treasure hunting with Justin Posey.
I would love it too. I really would.
Yeah. So. I bet he's such a good time. He just seems to know things. And I feel like he's so calm, and I'm so not calm. So.
Yeah, it's definitely, interesting though, and it's definitely interesting what they get into, some of the not as bright sides, right, or the forest
He
Fenn
did.
hunts
He
and stuff
went
like that.
straight at that stuff, like the deaths. Like people are
Yeah,
dead. I mean, that's, and I've said this a long time. Like both JCB and Justin Posey experienced something as finders, or like as searchers, that being hiders had to impact them.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. And I think what he says Forrest couldn't foresee the risks people were taking.
Yeah.
You know, he couldn't imagine the things that people would do,
Right.
the things people would do, right? Or
Right.
as Justin says, you know, he's not putting the deaths on them. It's just dumbass people doing dumbass things. I don't even know if I could say that word, but
I
that's
don't
what he
know.
did, you know?
I mean, it is what
So,
it is. It was what was said. If we say, hey, YouTube, we're sorry for not to swear.
yeah.
But you know, it was very interesting, and you know, he said
Yeah.
Forrest had to be reactive, and that's the truth. Like Forrest laid the foundation. He's the groundwork. You know, the case study is what he calls it in the video. But like he laid the foundation for that, and that's pretty big deal because it's true, because they got to learn from that, and that's powerful, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think you know, I think what Justin says too about what true adventure is, and the
Yeah.
definition of adventure
Right.
is, if there isn't any even a little bit of danger, is it really adventure? It makes me go, oh, and then he follows up with, but you don't have to do anything dangerous.
Right.
But he wants
That's
it to be an adventure. But you know, and adventures have a
right.
little bit of danger. So he goes, it's just that feeling of possible danger.
Right.
So
Well,
really
and there's
cool.
something I will tell you, like for when we were out there last time, we were up at Sawtooth area, in the Polaris area, I was afraid. Like I was thinking about bears the whole time. Like I was a little bit scared the whole time. And I'm
Right.
like, I kept going, just checking my hip, like, oh, my bear spray's still there. Oh yeah, my bear spray's still there. Okay, my bear spray's still, oh God, my bear spray is still there. And
Yeah.
you know, and like there's an element. I was so worried about bears that when we heard a rattlesnake, I wasn't even worried about the rattle. I'm like, just keep going, we're fine, just leave it alone. It's telling us to go away. But there's bears out here.
And Justin says that is your adventure. So,
Yep, exactly.
you know, something else he said right then that actually kind of clarified something for me. He once again said fight or flight again, and he doesn't mention freeze. Oh gosh, the other one, it's like reason or something. I know that's not it. My wife will probably correct me in the comments below. But so maybe he only knows of fight and flight, or that's just how he always refers
And
to
I
freeze, fight,
never
flight,
ever
and reason.
heard of the more than fight or flight until you told us about it in that one video.
Really? Okay.
I'd never heard that. And I try to remember, you live with a psychologist.
That's true.
So
that is true.
That makes all the difference in the world. But I had only ever heard
difference.
fight or flight. It's interesting because, like, you know, we talk about, you know, you do have fight or you do have flight. Maybe you have a little bit of both or something like that. But when he said, you know, everyone has a line, it's the one thing to say that what your line is, and it's another thing to experience it. And it's like the way he references, what would you do? You don't know what you're going to do when a grizzly bear attacks until a grizzly bear attacks. And like, that's the truth. And that's why we're going to have a safety video, you know?
Well, and I think it was great also because there's a lot of controversy about the golden greed, right? Like it shows Justin finding the location of where the treasure was left. And as most people who are in Discord or know, or actually people in the Forest Fenn hunt, especially, they know that Rudy was the person, right? And so he clarifies that. He mentions that Rudy was there before he was and stuff.
Well, I don't think he was trying to ever say that he had done that, but Netflix was cutting a video, you know, and
exactly. They cut the video. It was more beneficial for them to show that Justin did it, obviously, because it makes a better show than being like, oh, he didn't really find it, but we're going to show him with all the information because he talked about all the
drama and not just a documentary.
It's a docudrama for show,
right?
Yeah,
but
especially because it's about Forest Fenn hunt.
Resolute. He felt resolute. Which is interesting because, you know, you think about like what's resolute, and then all of a sudden people have been talking about, well, I don't remember Justin saying anything about National Treasure. That's a big thing that's been in Discord recently. I don't remember him saying anything, but I mean, the word resolute is such a distinct word. I almost wonder if that's like a code. Yeah, I'm definitely talking about National Treasure, you know? And so, I mean, I just think that it's so interesting because he is so engaged. And unfortunately, you don't see JCB having that engagement. JCB clarifies he doesn't really want that engagement. He wants his book to stand alone. And Justin's like, hey, listen, everything's in there, and I'd like to be a spectator, but maybe I have a thing or two to say. And maybe I'm
Yeah.
interested in what you guys are doing. And he's clearly keeping tabs and watching Discord and all that stuff. And I just think that's kind of profound. But I also thought it was super interesting when he said he didn't even finish on paper the poem until a couple days before it went to press.
Yeah, that's actually huge, right?
That's
That's actually
so huge.
huge because that means that he said that he did it all by himself, right? That he did the poem, he basically told him what to put in the illustrations. Yeah. He had creative control over the book, he had creative control over everything, and that he kept everybody separate so that nobody would have an advantage or have a leg up. That was interesting that he didn't have it finished until the day before printing press, which means he could have made the most amount of changes possible until it went to print. So
that's just nuts. And then he asked Justin what he thought about JCB's hunt. He said, have you studied John Collins Black's book? And he said, I have the book. Hats off to JCB. And that it seemed like it was all inclusive, but that it was very approachable. The most approachable of all the books, because he hadn't finished reading it yet, was the Appalachian Trail book. And I'm like, the thing is, buddy, Pokemon is the most approachable.
Well, he thinks that's the one that's going to be solved first or found first. So I think he said he looked at it. It's just some random map with pictures on it. And Justin looks at it and goes, oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
If someone's going to solve this, I can see it right now. So
that's so funny. I'm like, and I look at it and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
So it's like
I thought it was interesting too, because the Forrest Fenn hunt has so much controversy about the ending, and so much. These two are trying to make the ending. I mean, nobody's going to be 100% satisfied, especially if you don't find the treasure, or you're not going to like this. I mean, you're just not going to please everybody. Right. I think they're shooting for a high percentage, but he says that even he's not 100% sold, but there's not enough evidence for him to think otherwise about the ending of Forrest Fenn. I thought that was interesting because he's not like 100%. It was this. He's saying that while it's a high percent because he hasn't seen enough evidence otherwise. I thought that was interesting. So
it's so good.
It's the controversy of all this. So.
Well, and it's good to keep his mind open because really the truth is you weren't there, right? And we keep saying
exactly.
That, but we keep saying that like there's so much that has you going, I don't really know. I'm not really sure. Or maybe, right? And so I think through it and I'm like, I have to keep the most open mind I've ever had. And I'm not an open-minded person. I'm like, nope, wrong, black, white, no gray, definitive. And for the first time in my life, I'm really kind of forced to be like, well, no, actually, this could be this. And I can't be that definitive because I don't actually have all the answers when it comes to this.
Yeah. I like when they talked about John Collins Black. He goes in, I'm not a rule follower. Thought that was interesting, obviously, because there's a lot of his books about can he hide it here, can he not? He's not a rule follower. Now I'm like, maybe the Buffalo National River is back on. Who knows? But he says that.
Go ahead.
He says about hiding the treasure, it's much more stressful than hunting it. When you're hunting it doesn't matter. People, you're out hunting, you look at people that might be, you wouldn't even know the treasure hunting. They just look like normal people out hiking or whatever. But when you're hiding it, you're trying to avoid all people. And it's a lot more stressful when you're doing that.
That's, and then I thought he ended with like, maybe we should get them together. And I love how Justin's like, that's a yes for him. And John was like, well, and Dave goes, well, I'm working on it. But what, JCB? Yeah. What?
I mean, that's kind of interesting, right?
It left a taste, right? It left a taste in my mouth, and it wasn't.
It could just be like he says, that JCB's like, I just wanted to write this book and step back and just let it play out. And I don't want to constantly be doing interviews or, doing all these meet and greets or anything like that. And, that he just wanted to completely step back, which could explain he hasn't done interviews in a long time. Like even this interview was a lot of old old stuff that was pre-recorded.
Right.
So
no, for sure.
So it could just be that, it could just be he's also really busy. I mean, they were both just out of the country just recently.
Right. And I don't doubt that. Like, think about this. He runs a business, right? So I don't even run a business. I work for a business and my life's that stressful. So I'm sure his is very stressful. But people are on a journey. And like part of it is, again, what made Forrest's hunt so good for people is how Forrest made people feel about his hunt. And I feel like JCB is missing an opportunity to make sure people know that their search and that what they're dealing with, that's important to him.
It's important. I don't think JCB, and this is not a knock on JCB because I'm super appreciative of this hunt, but I don't think he realizes, as a treasure hunter or as people trying to find this treasure and stuff, the access, the hearing from them helps us. It like keeps us engaged. You know, when you just disappear. I mean, people had Forrest Fenn. He was engaged all the time, right? People could write him directly, write him back. We're not saying do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a little bit too much.
Justin's plays. Yeah, that was too much. Justin, you see what Justin's doing. It's a really good amount, I think. I think doing interviews, doing people like responding sometimes or posting sometimes about it. I think it's important, right? Because you don't want people to not necessarily lose interest. Who's going to lose interest in a over $3 million treasure hunt and stuff like that? But you do kind of lose focus on it when you don't have any interaction or any responses or anything from the creator of it. So
well, and you do see, I mean, we are in the Discords all the time. You do see a reduced interest right now. And, you know, I don't want that for him. In fact, I'm personally considering going boots on the ground, not this weekend, but next weekend, because I still believe there's something up in the mountains here in North Carolina. And I just have to really solidify what I'm pointing at first, you know. But then you're talking about going to Tahoe.
I'm going to try to get to Tahoe. I'm still not sure, but I am trying to make it happen. So
So there's a lot coming down the line. It's a lot going on. And I mean, like, so exciting. I mean, I love the Dave. I mean, first of all, we both know I'm a Dave lover. I love Dave's videos. I mean, his podcasts. I think that they're fantastic. I think they're well done. I think the way he asks questions is so different than how we think and ask questions. And I think he's very thoughtful in the way he presents. And I just loved it. I will listen to it multiple times. We're going to put the link. We're going to put the link down below. Go listen to it. There's a lot to hear. There's a lot to learn. And I'm sure we'll talk about it more this week. The thing about all of these podcasts and all of these interviews and all of these things is that as we're all hunting together, it's an opportunity to get deeper into the knowing of the person so you can solve for the puzzle that they've provided to us. So this week, we're going to go ahead and put some other stuff out. We're going to go ahead and work on getting the next 3 episodes out of breaking down the book, because I think that now more than ever, as people start to really get out there and we're waiting for that snow to melt, let's get ready. Let's add as many pointers to your areas as you can. For those of you who are in Montana, for those of you who are in Arizona, like, let's just be very careful in the heat out there. I mean, there's a bunch of states that are in the American West, and there's somebody brought up that there was a couple states that are never mentioned in the book. And so I think it was Froggy who said, if there's not what you see, it's what you don't see. Sometimes it's important, and like, that's a big deal. So I'm thinking about reading the whole book one more time through, because, you know, with all my free time, it's a great idea, right? And just see what else is missing. What else am I not seeing there that seems important, you know?
Yeah, well, I thought the really interesting thing too about that interview, and another reason to go watch it, the main reason to go watch it, and people say this all the time, is Justin actually reads the poem at the end. So you get the way he reads it, he inflects it, how he says it, and you could tell he's trying to be very careful in how he reads it. But I'm going to listen to him reading that probably 1,000 times to try to see if I can pick up anything. I actually
was excited to hear where twice he had inflections in places that I know I put inflections. So that told me, well, A, maybe inflection belongs there, but also B, it tells me the things that I feel are important are as important as they are. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I was super excited about that. But we'll go ahead, and this week's going to end up great. We're going to get Indy. We're going to get our interview with Indy. We're going to get our video with Matt Goldfinder for some security. We got a lot coming up, so stay tuned. There's things coming our way. Thank you so much for everything, and all the people who've reached out to thank us for the things you got from the live. We will be doing a live relatively soon. We want to do our cahoots video. That's coming too, not this week, not next week, but coming up soon. There's a lot going on. Let's just all stay together and stay happy and stay safe out there, people. Bye, guys.
Thanks.